But when it comes to medical matters, garlic doesn't get all the glory. Several scientific studies have looked into onions' properties to lower the risk of stomach cancer.
There has been a big study carried out in the Netherlands, and that study showed that people who ate half an onion a day on average or more had half the risk of stomach cancer than people who didn't eat any onions. So that was a highly significant effect.
The main active components in onions are thought to be flavonoids and their subgroups.
For instance, anthocyanins, which usually have a red or purple colour, such as you get in red onions. And also there are compounds like quercetin, and quercetin is also an antioxidant. It's antibacterial, antifungal, anti-cancer, anti-everything pretty well.
But the key to getting the full health benefits from onions and garlic lies in how you prepare them in the kitchen.
The way you prepare garlic is extremely important. After you chop and crush it, you really need to leave that garlic sitting around for about 15 minutes. If you use it straight away, you won't get all the benefits. What you should be careful of doing when you peel your onions is to take off only the thinnest of the outer skins and keep those layers that have colour in them, because quercetin is yellow or yellowy brown, and so you want those outer layers of the onion above all.
So whether you eat red or brown onions, they're just as good for you. Onions feature in so many dishes, but normally they go in at the start, and as the dish develops and more ingredients get added, they get lost, they exert their flavour, but you can't see them. Well, I want to cook something that puts onions centre stage, and that's where they'll stay. Gonna make a red onion jam, and the perfect thing to serve it with is a great piece of beef done on the grill. So, first things first, red onion jam. I'm gonna put a little bit of oil into a pan. Right, these are red onions. Red onions, I think, are less harsh than white onions. These have been very finely sliced, and we're just gonna start them cooking. During cooking, the onion's sulfur compounds are converted into molecules that are up to 70 times sweeter than table sugar. Now, onions accumulate energy stores not in starch, but in long chains of fructose sugars. And as it cooks, these fructose sugars break down, giving the whole thing a marked sweetness. And it's that sweetness that we're really going to play on to turn this into a jam. Now, the next thing that we need to put into here is red wine. So almost submerge the onions in red wine and then bring the whole thing up to a simmer. Now, this has been ticking over for about, 5 minutes? And the onions are starting to soften up nicely now. It smells strongly of onion and red wine, but we need to add some more sweetness to this. It is a jam after all, and I'm going to add demerara sugar. So that needs to cook very gently for 20 minutes. Now, this is all but reduced away. There is still a little bit of moisture. We need to get some more ingredients in there, and the first thing is some red wine vinegar. Now, the vinegar will give the finished thing a sharpness, but it'll also add extra sweetness because the acid in the vinegar helps break down the fructose chain in the onions. There we go. Right, just to help the whole jammy story along, I'm going to add some red currant jelly, and we'll just let that dissolve into it. And then finally, some port. Now, the port, again, adds sweetness, but it also plays on that red wine thing. This needs to come right the way down, and at this stage, don't go and have a bath, don't go and check the football results, stick in there, stay with it. This has now got a beautiful jammy consistency. And I'm just going to ladle this now into the Kilner jar and allow it to cool down. You can see what started off as a bowl of onions is now just the most fantastic, sweet, slightly sharp jam that will go so well with all sorts of things. Right, onto the steak. The joy of cooking it like this is that we retain much of the sweetness inside the meat and all the moisture, turning it occasionally until it's cooked just how you like it. Now, just going to rest it on its side once more, and we'll just have a little feel. Then I would say that is nice and rare, which is how I like my steak to be. So we're going to put that somewhere warm, just for a few minutes, whilst we get everything else ready. Right, nice bowl of salad. Pile that in there. Chips, or actually, this is what we call chips in my house, potato wedges. And we'll just put a nice pile of those on the board. There we go. Back to that fantastic red onion jam, which has cooled down. Look at that. Look at the colours of that. That is going to go so well with the beef. And I'm just going to put the knife in there and just go across. And we're looking for a nice blushing pink centre. And that is medium to medium rare, that. And then you can see that beautiful fat from the inside that's marbled right the way through. And I reckon that is pretty much your ultimate steak dinner for Saturday night. The humble onion that once grew in the wild has now become big business.
We produce and pack and sell to our customers roughly 840 tonnes a week of onions. Now, if you think that through, that's about 32 lorry loads a week.
But a third of the onion market goes straight to food manufacturers, some of whom wouldn't exist without them.
We buy 2 million kilos of onions and 2 million kilos of garlic per year, and all our curries begin with onion and garlic as the base.
One of the world's leading Indian curry sauce producers is Patak's Food.
This is where we produce 18 million kilos of the most authentic Indian curry sauces, 4 million of which are the nation's favorite tikka masala.